right, ladies and gentlemen, from that big story, let's turn the clock back to last week while Prime Minister Narendra Modi and French President Emmanuel Macron jointly inaugurated Bharat Innovates. In fact, startups, VCs and tech companies could engage with both the premiers, both the leaders, and they explored the way forward for deeper Indo-French partnerships and what that could possibly mean for businesses. So we thought we'd speak to one such company in the deep tech space on what does that current boost in ties really mean for startups that are operating in India on the European opportunity. Let's bring on board then Srinath Ravichandran of Agnikul Cosmos to talk about this and more. Thank you very much, Srinath, for taking the time out and speaking to us here on ET Now. You attended that event wherein over 100 startups and tech companies attended in France. There were VCs, also tech CEOs also in attendance at the event. What are your first impressions of the event, Bharat Innovates, and how did you receive the messaging of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Macron, especially when it comes to collaboration with respect to the tech opportunity?
It was a very positive event at the scale that, I had not imagined because, of course, we know that India has a lot of startups, but to see all of them under one roof in another country, and that too where, our Honorable Prime Minister and, President Macron were actually coming. It was great. I think the focus was very clearly on three things, right? One, the government is taking innovation very seriously. We are not a manufacturing focused country alone anymore. We are looking at innovation and design. That was one key message. I think this got reiterated multiple times throughout the sessions, right? The second aspect is innovation today means global outreach. It's not about only solving India problems. It's solving problems for humanity across the world with technology. Right, which again came out, which I saw in all the startups, that were, brought there. And third, I think the kind of outreach that the government had done, because we saw, at least from Agnikul's standpoint, I could tell you, we saw customers, we saw suppliers, we saw investors, like basically, and, we even saw a few people from, the educational background, institutions across the country, across the world. So in a sense, it felt like they were trying to bring all of this under one roof, which was very well done. So it was great. And for us specifically, at least for Agnikul, we literally had the largest show there in a sense, the only rocket company from the country to be there. So we got a lot of very interesting attention, very useful attention, actually, right? It was directly from customers and investors and some suppliers as well. So it was great.
Srinath, we have time only for one question. So I'm going to ask this question before we let you go. We do have the FTA with the European Union. Both sides are currently talking to sort of close that FTA and sign that FTA this year itself. So are you or companies like yourselves exploring collaborations with French or European aerospace ecosystems following your discussions with your French counterparts in Nice?
Absolutely, we are. We were in touch with them already, and this event and this setup actually has made it even stronger, right? So we already fly with, as I told you, some French sensors and stuff, which is made by aerospace companies in France. And this continues as well for other, their suppliers, vendors, there are also customers there. So very much, very much in this, we are looking forward to this whole relationship getting strengthened.
All right. We'll see how that story really plays out, but we're completely out of time on this edition of Startup Central. Thank you for joining us, Srinath, and you viewers, thank you very much for taking the time out and tuning into Startup Central. From me and the entire team, goodbye and thank you very much for watching.